This is the North End. This is the North End.
Welcome to the North End podcast and YouTube channel. On this week's episode, it is Week 8 previews, and of course, we are going to get into the hilarious slate that Paul has created for us, sports washing episode. We're going to talk all things Newcastle and what it means for the Premier League, the takeover of arguably Saudi Arabia and another state-owned club, which we'll get into whether or not that's actually fact or not. And I want to welcome, of course, Mr. David Convery and Mr. JP California. Gentlemen, it's good to see you both. I'll start with you, JP. How are you, brother? How's Cali treating you?
It's amazing. We're starting to get the winter, so it's a whole like 52 degrees in the morning and a beautiful 75 in the afternoon. So I mean, it's winter's coming, guys. Winter's coming.
Nice. I was just saying to you before we started, and Connie will back me up on this. It's been beautiful here in Toronto this October is the nicest October I think we've ever had in the history of October. So it's been really nice. So we're not far off from each other, but that will change in about 3 weeks' time. Connie, good to see you, brother. How are you, mate? You all right?
Good, man. Enjoying the weather. Very excited to chat all things football with you, gentlemen. I think there's some good things to chat about. Should be a good one.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do want to do, there was a little bit of WhatsApp chat last night, and JP was having a laugh at us a little bit about our Soccer Canada program. And I wanted to shout out to the Canadian national team because unbelievable performance last night. And Alphonso Davies, what a player we have. What a good Canadian player we have. I don't know if you saw the highlight, JP, of it or not, but his goal was insane. It's a highlight reel, not just for Canada, but for football. What he did to score that goal was unbelievable. It was like world class stuff. And we don't get that in Canada. It's not something that exists. So we had to enjoy it a little bit.
I would love to see him play because he looks like just an absolute beautiful player. He's so quick and powerful in a majestic way. And he's so brilliant. Like, he's
very smart,
just brilliant on the ball.
Yeah.
But man, he would work great in the USA setup.
Well, it's good thing he's not American. You guys could use him right now by the looks of it.
Good.
You struggled against Panama, lost to Panama 1-0, and we smashed them 4-1. So
hey, Brian, not to belabor it, but is it fair to say even at his young age,
he's 20 years old?
He's the best player Canada's ever had.
Oh, absolutely. He's
already by a mile, maybe.
He's already
right?
broken their record, all of the records, and he's 20. So
I do 100%. Like that
Jonathan David, also a good player.
David,
plays for Lille, I think, in Liga.
I would love to see him in the EPL.
Yeah, good player as well. I just want to shout out as well to what the manager did, John. What's his last name?
Herbert or something.
John Herman, I think.
Herman.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, it used to be the women's coach. Did a really good job for the women's program in Canada. Got them to being one of the best top 3 in the world, and then has moved to the men and has done an incredible job. Really, really tactically adept. I've never seen a Canadian team play so tactically aware of what it is that they're supposed to be doing on the pitch, and really with just fluidity. It was really nice to watch. So shout out to Canada. I wanted to pop that in there before we get rolling on some of the other stuff.
Maybe Alphonso Davies will hear this and post it.
Yeah, maybe that'd be nice, right? But yeah, it was nice to see, and a really, really wonderful night. I almost feel like I don't have to cheer for England anymore, which is kind of nice. It's like, hey, I got Canada. Yeah, I might actually watch the World Cup if Canada get in.
So nice if they got in.
It would be nice. So we're gonna get into the Newcastle takeover here, lads, and I'm gonna bring up some slates here that we're gonna talk to. But as I'm doing so, I'll start with you, JP. What are your thoughts on this, and what do you think it means for the Premier League?
Well, shit, man, that's such a big question. I could go with that any direction.
It is.
If I'm looking at this as like a pure business standpoint, somebody with that much money who's going to come in is going to buy more top talent, buy more top managers, bring in more fans. It just develops the league a little bit more as a business standpoint. But that's as a business standpoint. And I have to take this because this is the game I love, the league I love. I have to look at this and look at the negatives and the cruxes that are going to come with this. And I think that first slide that, it's sports washing is kind of the perfect word for it.
I agree. It was a good shout from Paul.
Yeah.
On that. I don't know where he got that from, if he made it up himself, but nice one, Paul. Good stuff.
Because this
Spot on.
is a way for the Saudi Arabian government to essentially own a Premier League team and do things where it makes them seem really positive and awesome and generous and just amazing owners. While at the same time, they're keeping the visas of workers. They're making them slave laborers. They really take away the rights of the LGBTQ plus community.
Women.
I mean, women rights.
Women can't even freaking just started
really
to drive
is.
there 10 years ago.
Dude,
Yeah.
the place itself seems like it's 150 years backwards.
Yeah. It is. They didn't progress. Let's just with the slide that we got up here, we can look at the value of the clubs, right? And we can sort of determine like the difference between, we've seen, when Man City came in, the 21 billion they were bought for, Chelsea 14.5, even Aston Villa, you're aware of, is pretty high number as well, higher than the likes of Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Tottenham Hotspur, even Man United, were sold for less when they were initially bought by their current owners. The difference though, from Man City, who are at 21 billion, who everybody has, they've been sort of the punching bag for the rest of the teams, and being like, oh, come on, that's ruining the league. 21 billion, 321 billion. This is a state takeover, even more so than remotely close to what we've seen at both PSG and Manchester City. Connie, what are your thoughts on it? How are you looking at this and feeling about football in general at the moment with this takeover?
So I have a couple of different thoughts about this, and I'll get into that in a second. But I do have a question for you guys, because I do find this very fascinating. So when you guys first heard about this and heard that it was happening, I'm very curious to know, was your initial thought, how is this going to affect the Premier League, or how will this impact in either for you, Brian, Tottenham's position, or for you, JP, Villa's position? Was your first thought related to your club, or was it related to the league? Because I'm going to tell you why. Because when this happened, I realized, and I kind of felt like an asshole, my initial gut reaction was, what will this mean for United? And I kind of felt like a dick afterwards, because I was like, whoa, this is kind of bigger than that. So I want to know, how was it for you guys? Did you think, Brian, were you like, oh, what will this mean for Spurs moving forward? Or did you think about the Premier League?
It was kind of one thought, if I'm honest. I didn't really, like, it was I couldn't tell you which one happened first. It was like, oh man, that's disgusting. Like, the league is, it was all of it at once. I didn't have an initial, just think about Spurs and then think about the league. I just think the difference in numbers, I kept seeing on Twitter just that, this slide or this statistic in multiple different ways, showing the value of this club and the difference between the rest of the Premier League, which is the richest league in the world. I was just like, what does this really mean for football? That was a big one. And of course, being a Spurs fan and being a team that is, I hate using this, quotations, and sort of a team that's doing it properly, and that we're trying to invest in the right things in the club, and buying players correctly, and staying, fiscally sound to some extent. Not spending enough, if you ask me, and probably many Spurs fans would agree with me. But it does mean that any team that has kind of started to touch that upper echelon, which Spurs have done in the last 10 years or so, specifically when, of course, Pochettino was there and we made the Champions League four seasons in a row. That means instead of the top six, it's now seven, or the rich six, it's now seven. I mean, Spurs are still one of the richest, but Wolves in there with 9 billion. I didn't realize that had happened with them recently. This is a massive change for the league. And I think what it means just for fans, like, it's almost a bit of a piss take. It's like, if I was a player and I went to play for this team and they won a bunch of trophies in the next 5 years, I'd be like, yeah. I mean, we bought.
I don't know that you would, though. I don't know that you would. Like, do you think the players
that
in
happened to
Manchester?
Spurs? I wouldn't be into it. I would. My initial reaction for Spurs was, I would not want this for my club.
Do you think City players who have won the Premier League multiple times feel that way, or do you think that they feel good because they've won the Premier League?
I think, but in the back of their minds, there's a little bit of it. Maybe they're young, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just older and a little bit more, just I've lived life a little bit longer. I have a bit more cynicism in me to think that they might have some mentality that would think that way. JP, what are your thoughts on the question from Connie?
Well, when I first heard about it, I laughed, because I said, awesome. It's going to be like West Ham or Arsenal. They're going to throw a bunch of money and they're never going to win crap because it's Newcastle. They're a glutton for punishment. They're not going to do anything. And then I saw this chart, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
It's absolutely disgusting to me that the league would okay this sale. First off, to a group that they've previously been having a lot of conflict with, and B, when the league itself is trying to show this image of we respect our refs, we respect women, we respect African American, or I should say black people rights, right? Everyone's taking the knee, and it's like it's all about respect and honor and taking care of people and equality and equity. And you're bringing in a club like a group of people like this to own a club. It's just despicable.
But hold on a second, man. And
agree.
I liked your comment earlier on, JP, where you could literally take this in a million different directions, and I'll tell you why. So one of my things is I agree with everything you just said, but listen, a lot of us drive cars. We have gas in our cars. Where's a lot of that gas? Where's that oil come from? It comes from Saudi Arabia. We all wear clothing that was made possibly in sweatshops, right? So, and here's the other thing. It's not the first.
Our phones, never mind.
Exactly. And it's not the first time the Premier League, like, do you think the Manchester City owners are saints? Like, and here's what I will tell you, and it's sad, and I don't like it or agree with it, but this is about money, guys. The Premier League looks at this deal and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna bankroll a bunch more cash into our league, make us more money." It's, I would say, it's.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be naive not to understand that. That's
it's
an obvious
a sad
situation.
reminder of the fact that capitalism still will dominate over anything. Money, like we've all heard the saying, "Money talks." Now, if I take it in another direction, in a sporting direction, and I think JP said it best last week when we started to chat about it, it does take away more opportunity for parity in the Premier League. We look at the points table right now, and it's within 2 points after this many games in the season, which is great. I think as a neutral fan, if we took our Villa, United, or Spurs hat off, we'd like to see a tight race all the way through. But when you bring situations like this in with Newcastle, it just gives more of an opportunity to stretch that from the top 6, top 7, and it takes away that opportunity for parity, which I don't like. Like, we see what Brighton are doing right now. I love that. I like to see a team like what we saw with Leicester. So I'm concerned from a sporting direction. I don't like it. Like I can't even wait to see what their next shirt sponsor is going to be like. It's probably going to be like $800 million, and it's going to get wild. I don't know. It's not good.
Yeah, it's go ahead, JP. You had your hand up there.
There's two things for me that kind of play into this, and the first one is if you look at this and you changed up all these teams, and you looked at it, and the big black circle was Bayern Munich, you'd go, yeah, that seems about right. Right? When you look at Bayern Munich's revenue in the Bundesliga, and they've won the title every time except for one in the last 10 years.
Pretty much.
So
yeah.
Where's the parity there? Where's the Leicesters of the world, right? I don't want to see a league where Newcastle, Man City, and Chelsea win it year after year, over and over and over again, and they fight for the top 3. Like what's the point about that? I hate to say this, but the first year Man City won the title was one of the most exciting league finishes ever.
It was incredible. Yeah.
It was their
not
first
the most
time.
exciting.
Connie's worst moment and
the worst day of my life. Not even going to lie.
Now, guys,
Leicester,
I want to talk a little bit about FFP here because this is something that I was listening to a podcast today, and they had a specialist, a football financial specialist on the pod, and he was talking about what it means for financial fair play and how it actually works and when it works and when it doesn't work. And of course, there's massive issues with it. We know that without a salary cap or without that sort of that what structure that we have in North American sports and some of those sports that does not allow teams to spend a certain amount of money. There's ways of getting around it. We saw Man City do it. We've seen Chelsea get bans on transfer for 2 windows, for 2 windows. Newcastle currently in the moment, because we are in the middle of COVID, there is no FFP. Like the rules have been like completely relaxed. So arguably in January they could just do whatever the fuck they want, spend as much money as they want. Now, would they do that? I doubt it. So I think this is the thing I'm curious about what we'll see, and what I would like to hear you guys' thoughts on. How long do you think it'll take Newcastle to become this team that we're all worried about them becoming, a team that's going to win a bunch of stuff? Because the difference between, say, Man City or Chelsea, because Chelsea finished second the season before they were taken over by Roman Abramovich, already in the Champions League, had already had good seasons under the previous ownership. Man City, I think, were mid to like somewhere around 7th or 8th.
It took about 3 or 4 years.
Took them about 3 or 4 years, but they put in the infrastructure, they put in the right people in the right places. currently Newcastle are in the bottom 3 in a relegation battle and haven't won a game yet this season. So the distance from the bottom of where they are into to the top, they might need the 320 billion to get there, because they're absolute shit. Like, they're one of the worst teams in the league at the moment. They have one of the worst managers. They, like I said, haven't won a game. When you think about how all of this is going to work, how long does it take Newcastle in this situation? And of course, this does come down to them making good decisions. I think you could look at Man City. There was a couple of decisions that were made early on for them that they had to make a couple of errors before they started to get it right. But put in the infrastructure, built up all the training facilities, and then also expanded their brand to other places in the world. All of those things have to be done, right? They have to do these under the understanding that this is Saudi Arabia doing this, right? So they're not, you're not going to have bandwagoners like Man City had. I just don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be Newcastle fans who like them, and that's it. The global brand isn't going to exist. So what do you guys think? What do you think timeline wise? Do we see Newcastle starting to compete for trophies properly?
Well, I think you nailed it, Brian. But I actually think Manchester City, other than a couple of players early on, I think a lot of people, despite in the whole financial fair play thing, I think from at this point, I don't even think it exists. So I don't think they're worried about it.
Though. It does to an extent.
It's a joke.
No, it is a joke. I'm not saying it's not a joke, but it was explained to me how it works today by a football financial expert when I listened to the podcast. I was like, oh, and how it works is the problem.
Is it being enforced is my question.
Well, it is and it isn't. And in the Man City case, it was arguably that because of that, it was sort of a what is it called when
a loophole?
No, it's not a loophole. When something happens long enough,
oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Say you commit a crime in the U.S. and and a statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations had run out, and that was their argument, and they were arguably right based on what the rules were, and that's how City got away with it. So Chelsea got a ban. AC Milan got a ban for spending too much money. There are teams that have done that. Everton right now are right on the edge of going over FFP, and you saw what they spent in the transfer window. It was barely fuck all. It was like 4 million.
But those are jokes.
No, I know.
Halved.
Yeah, no, I get that, JP. I'm just saying it exists, and there is something there. I'm not saying it works very well. I think it needs to be reformed, but it's there to some extent. So they're not going to be able to splash. You know what they can spend? They can spend just under 200 million in January. That's
apparently their budget, but that's because of financial fair play of what their spend has been in the last couple of years.
Well, yeah, because they made money.
Exactly.
They made 100 million in the last 3 seasons. So they get to spend that plus the 80, 85 or 90 that they're allowed to spend with FFP in place.
So to answer your initial question, I think a lot of it is dependent on. I think a lot of it is dependent on those choices, right, Brian?
Yeah,
if you look at Sergio Aguero, Yaya Toure, David Silva, you're talking and Vincent Kompany. You're talking about 4 of the best signings in Premier League history. Yeah. So I think depending on who they bring in,
and never mind signing the best manager and one of the best managers.
Right, exactly.
Well, have you guys heard who they're linked to is Brendan Rodgers?
Yeah, he's already declined.
I heard Steven Gerrard is who they're being closely linked to.
Brent Rodgers said no, but my understanding is that they're going to hire, and this is what they should do, is hire a football director first. We're looking at Louis Campos is one of the ones on the list.
Yep.
They get him in, and then I would watch out because that guy knows what the fuck he's doing, and he knows how to do it on a budget. Never mind
who's
with
the guy who's at Liverpool.
I forget his name.
Yeah, they just did an article on him. If they snap up, and his contract's out at the end of this year, if they can snap him up, man, they would be a powerhouse. But when you were looking at that question, how long? If you're telling me they got 200 million to spend in January. They spend that on 4 top players that they can con.
But what top players are going to go there?
That's the question,
but when you look at their team.
No, but here's the thing, JP.
Their team isn't that. Their team is not a bottom 3 team.
Yes,
they're
just
coached.
They're fucking terrible, JP.
They're coached.
No, their team. Give me one player on that team that
St. Maximin.
One other than I was just going to say other than St. Maxim.
Oh, the striker.
Wilson.
What's his name? Callum Wilson.
He's fucking injured all the time.
That's true.
He barely plays.
Hey, he'll play 6 months, and that's all you need him for.
Come on, mate. That is not
first year.
Remotely valuable.
If he's healthy, he's not bad. But Brian's right. But here's the thing: their number one goal this year is to just avoid relegation.
They got to stay up.
Now, here's the better question. Who is going to go there right now? Who's going to go to Newcastle? Because everyone's talking about
my question, by the way. How long is it going to take?
I think maybe
3. I'm going to say 5.
3 to 5. Yeah, a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying a decade. Guess what?
No,
this money's
too
going
much
to
money
talk
for a decade.
real quick. And
I
you're
think they'll
going to
make a bunch of errors, and the Newcastle, the location will hold them back a little bit, and the ownership and who they are will hold them back a little bit as well. Not
I don't
enough
know,
to
man.
not enough to stop them from being successful, but for them to do it in 3 years. I think that's too soon.
You're
They
going to get a
could-
lot of mercenaries going there for a payday that are good football players, right?
Mercenaries who are in their like late 20s, early 30s though, who
Yep.
can
They
take
can still take them up to a top 6. But if you look at this,
I don't know about that.
they could. You know what? The owner could literally just say, "Screw it. I'm going to buy every other team twice over, and then win the league in 1 year."
They all just give up with the Premier League. Fuck it.
What's the point?
Can we also take a moment here to talk about the way Steve Bruce has been even if you don't think he's a good coach, the amount of disrespect that this guy's been getting in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. I don't know if you guys saw the comment. He goes, I'm glad, was it his dad or his mom? He goes, I'm glad my parents are not still alive because if they saw this, it would make them sick to their stomach. And it really is terrible. You don't have to think he's a good coach, but some of the disrespect he's been getting from pundits has been shocking. Like they're
terrible.
basically talking about him like he's like fired today, which is
almost all of, like he won't
supposed to be fired tomorrow, apparently.
He won't be managing Spurs at the weekend. I'm like, I think he will be. It's his 1,000th game as a manager, and he should get respect for doing what he's done. He's dated, of course, and he's not doing well, but he's got a shit squad, so it's not surprising. But let's talk about, because we were just talking about spending, right, and the players that might be available, and these are sort of some of the players we're looking at here. We've got Gareth Bale's in there. We've got is that a Cardi? We've got Coutinho, Martial,
Max Aarons.
Yeah, Max Aarons is in there. You've got some good players. Is that Eric Bailly there in the bottom?
That is Eric Bailly, yeah.
So you've got Aaron Ramsey, who's at Juventus, who's in his. So some of these players fit that kind of early 30s kind of. They're good players, and they'll add quality to a Newcastle team in the Premier League, but they need a good manager and they need a good situation before they start spending money wildly. And I think they'll fail miserably if they try.
I think they could buy all these players this January and stay under 200 million.
Here's the thing, though.
Bale will cost like 50.
Who's the first guy to go? Who's the first?
Bale.
Who's let's say one of you two are a player on this list. Let's just say you're like a Martial. Who's gonna be the first one to be like, okay, I guess I'll test it out. Like, and if
Donny van der Beek, bro, like he's treated worse than Luke Shaw by Jose Mourinho.
I could see Aaron Ramsey doing it. With his age,
you're,
for sure.
you're going for the money. Like the first big name to go, it's a payday because the team's still 3 years away. Hey man, go make your money.
Take it.
Football. A football career is a short career, and if you want to go get your payday, man, do it. But I'm with JP, man. I think you're going to see some action in January. Maybe not.
They're going to spend, but whether they spend well, and do they? This is the issue.
That's the key.
This is the thing that I think is the reason why you haven't seen Steve Bruce get sacked right away, is that they intend on bringing in a director of football. That director of football will likely be the one who considers who the coach is going to be. So that has to happen first. So you bring in the director of football, you bring in the new coach. I arguably think that could happen in the summer, unless they're going to get relegated. If they're in a scenario at Christmas time and they're still in the bottom 3 and they've won 1-2 games maybe total, and they're still looking at getting relegated, they'll do something. They'll hire somebody. They'll get in. They'll try to correct it because they need to be in the Premier League next season. If they don't. If Steve Bruce can keep them, 13th, 14th, and reasonably comfortable, get them through the season, get some players in January that will help them get there, I could see him managing the rest of the season. And then in the summer, they'll have already planned all their targets. They'll should already have a director of football and have got that sorted out. That's what you would do when you have this kind of money and you have this kind of power. That's how you would do it. So that's what I would expect to see.
I think you got to bring somebody in January, because think about it. With a purchase like this, the last thing you need is to get relegated, right? Because, money's not the issue with them losing the money. It's the credibility, right? Because then you're already set back a year. You've got this project. You're trying to replicate what City did. And you're trying to make your team better so you can attract better players. It's pretty simple.
That's
right?
why I said by Christmas, though, right? Because if they can stay in touch of mid-table mediocrity by Christmas and bring in 2 or 3 good players with Bruce still there, even if they're older players, those players could still play under a new coach or a new regime. they'll likely stay up at that point. So it really just depends if in the next like 2 months what happens. But Bruce could also get fired before the weekend. Who knows?
Oh my God! Can you imagine if he did though?
It's
ruthless.
I feel bad.
Tomorrow's Friday. I can't imagine. He's been preparing the team for the weekend. That's my understanding. He's seen him, like, there's obviously video Sky Sports doing their standard gross journalism, like, just standing at the ground. Oh, Steve Bruce has arrived for work. Oh, Steve Bruce has left for work.
He's still here.
He's just kind of going, get a life, man. Like, what are you guys doing?
It's so bad.
I just gotta say, like, this really does show to the rest of the EPL and the world that money can literally buy you anything. And the EPL has no morals. There's no real morals in the EPL. Like, they want to talk about respecting refs and that shit over again. Like what I was saying earlier, it's like, if you have money, you could buy someone's wife. You could buy the director of the EPL or whoever. You could just buy his wife. It doesn't matter to him because
when the purse strings come out, that's when you see everyone's true colors. And the EPL, we love it. It's our favorite league. It's the best football league in the world.
A lot.
It's still a business at the end of the day, and those executives in the Premier League haven't lost any sleep over this, dude. You know that. We know that. And this is just, unfortunately, that negative part of life where money and power dictate a lot, right? It's just the reality we live in.
Unfortunately, yeah. And I think the fans will probably be the fans of other clubs will be the ones who suffer, because that's usually who suffers in these situations, the clubs themselves. There'll be more money in the Premier League. So it'll be harder to make it because it's going to be harder to finish in the top European positions. That is the reason why, Daniel Levy led it, the complaint to the Premier League about what's going on here, and
did he?
Oh yeah, of course he did.
Oh yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I would love for some of that shit to get public.
Yeah, I would as well. I think it would be nice to see what's going on and because I think the question was from many of the teams, and I think there was a lot of teams. It wasn't just
it wasn't just
Levy. I think it was
18 of them.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
I think it was about 15 or 16. I think there was a couple that were like, the Man Cities of the world were like, we're still going to spend the money we do.
They're like, welcome.
Our infrastructure's there. Chelsea, same thing. Like, their systems work. They win stuff anyway, and it's another one to play against. But the other ones are going to fall down the pecking order, like the Spurs and the Arsenal and even Villa, who's trying to Villa's trying to get there, right? And you guys got a new investor who's spending money arguably better than many of the other clubs. Leicester, who have done really well in recent times as well. They're all going to go down a little bit over the next few years, and it's disappointing. I'm not happy about it. I guess if I was going to say, like, just on a positive note, I would say for the Newcastle fans, what they've had to deal with their previous owner and Mike Ashley, I'm happy for them. Because at least they're going to get to, start to enjoy their football again. And however long it takes, you listen to most of their reactions, and I'm just glad that fucker's gone, because when you don't like your ownership, and your ownership has no ambition and isn't spending any money on players and is just like holding on by the skin of his teeth, all you want to do is to move on. And so whatever happens, you kind of forget about the things that might be negative about it. That might change. They might end up, depending on how things pan out when it comes to the record of Saudi Arabia and what it means to be owned by that type of conglomerate. Yeah. Their attitudes might change, but right now they're dancing in the streets, and so be it.
Proper football town though, boys. Like, honestly, like, great fan base. Like, they care a lot about their team. So in a sense, happy that they're getting rid of Ashley, but like, I mean, it's a trade-off, right? Like, you're throwing, what do they say, the baby with the bathwater?
Yeah, like, that's it. We got a comment from our one and only Paul Forrest. If the Prince is listening, these do not represent all of the North End. Please do not send people to all of our doors. Paul Forrest's address on...
we posted up on Google Maps.
That's another one, right?
I'll just put it on the ticker at the below here.
Did they have that journalist killed in Turkey? And literally multiple countries are all saying, "Oh, it's Saudi Arabia."
They chopped him up to pieces. Yeah, it was.
They brought in a saw, didn't they?
Yeah, it's pretty rough stuff going on there. And again, I think the thing is your average football fan doesn't know about Khashoggi was the journalist who.
That's right.
Your average football fan doesn't, especially in England, right? In Newcastle, right? They're not like socially aware of the things going on in the world. They're like, they live in a small city in the northeast of the UK, and football is everything, and they've just got an opportunity to become relevant again, and that's all they care about. So good for them. For the fans,
Making a deal with the devil.
Yeah, it is, and that's the risk you take. And we'll get a chance hopefully at some point, because I'm sure there'll be a few new Newcastle fans when this happens and they start winning stuff. We'll get one of them on the channel and have a chat with them about how they really feel about what's going on. Yeah. Exactly.
Get out here, dude.
True Geordie. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for. Unless you guys have anything to add, we're gonna get into the previews.
Let's get into those previews.
Yeah, we're gonna preview week 8. So Connie, lead us to the battle, buddy.
Yeah, man. All right. As we move into the weekend, just pulling it up here, boys. I did want to ask you guys a quick question.
Shoot.
Ballon d'Or, and yes or no, should it be what you've won title-wise that year, or if you were the best player?
I think it should be a combination of both.
Agreed.
See, I agree, but it's whatever.
I think it's a popularity contest at this point, so it doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, I mean
football's
that's
broken,
how,
boys.
Yeah, that's how it's chosen. Yeah, there's some players in there on the list that like Mason Mount. What?
I know.
Hoytman's son doesn't get nominated. Mason Mount gets nominated.
It's weird.
It's just bizarre, weird. Right? So it's just popularity contest. But anyway, let's preview.
Watford hosting Liverpool, gentlemen.
New manager at Watford as well.
Are they going to get the bounce, or is this straightforward? Liverpool keep going.
I think Liverpool keep going, but I think there still will be a bit of a bounce. I think it'll be a better Watford side, but Liverpool are flying right now. So I think
they really are flying.
2-0, 3-1.
Yeah. I think Watford, like first half an hour, 40 minutes, will make it difficult for them. They'll show some resilience, and they'll look like they're going to do something, and Liverpool will do what Liverpool do, and they'll beat them comfortably.
Quick yes or no? Is Mo Salah the best player in the league?
Currently, yes.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Who's better?
Kevin De Bruyne
Kevin De Bruyne is on form, not on form at the moment.
And he's starting to become a little injury-ridden, I'm starting to feel.
Injury-ridden, and his passing isn't as crisp this season. Hasn't been as crisp as usual. It's a little bit disappointing from him, to be honest with you.
Gentlemen, Leicester hosting Manchester United. Manchester United will be without both of their starting central defenders, Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane, and they have been
a little Liverpool-esque this season.
Questionable at best. They've really eked out some results. As a United fan, I'll tell you right now, I'm worried. I'm not confident about this game. I know Leicester have not been great, but
Leicester have been shit.
They've been shit, but so have United, in fairness.
They have
not. So what do you boys think going into this one?
Tie. Both teams leaking goals. I'm going to say 1-1, 2-2 draw.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good shout. I think Manchester United seem like they're better on the road. Is that would you agree with that?
Much better, significantly better.
And I think that's going to have an effect on them. And I think if Ole can stop tinkering and just play your best 11, I think this is the biggest issue. I've been, obviously watch a lot of different YouTube channels, people talking about what's going on with Ole and his decision making. Why is he tinkering? Why is Ronaldo not starting a game? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You play him if you got him. You don't have the depth of squad that you should have to do that, to tinker. Play your best team, get the wins on the board. Right.
I'll just say this before we move on. If I see Fred in that starting 11,
he'll be in it. He'll be in it for sure.
I'm gonna have a fucking meltdown, and I'm not.
Fred
kidding.
and McTominay in front of Phil Jones and Eric Bailly.
When Fred starts, I want you to buy a Fred jersey, and you can wear it on the next one, because it's happening.
Dude,
it
will,
sure.
and that's a whole other thing. But let's keep it going here. Aston Villa hosting Wolves. JP, are we feeling good going into this one?
Oh man, I felt good going into Tottenham, and we came out laying an egg. I'm gonna say because it's kind of that derby match for us, I'm gonna say we put in a decent performance. We get a 2-1 win. I'll take it to the bank. If it's a draw, it's not the worst thing ever, but man, we can't get healthy to save our life. We found out Bertrand Traore is injured again. Sanson's coming back. Bailey, who I am super excited for, he looks like a real deal for us. He's been battling an injury back and forth. He might get 15 or 30 minutes this game, but I think we still have enough to get over the line. Their midfield's pretty slow and aging quite a bit. I mean, I think they're still starting like a 36-year-old.
So Matinho still starting?
Yeah. Matinho, yeah.
Good player.
You know what? Still playing well. I think this could be a good game.
He's just an intelligent player. He can get away with it a little bit.
Wolves have more than I think people give them credit for. Bry, the new striker, the South Korean, Hwang, Can he keep going? Can he make a
He
difference?
he looks fantastic. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he's definitely made a difference for Wolves. They struggled in front of net, obviously. Brain fart on the striker.
Hwang?
No, Ruiz.
Oh, are you talking about the gentleman Jimenez?
Jimenez, thank you, Raul Jimenez. Apologize for that. Yeah, he scored a goal. He's got his one goal so far, but he doesn't. He's still easing his way back into comfort levels. And I think this Hwang has come in and relieved him of that to some extent. So maybe just let him breathe a little bit and not put so much pressure on him. And he's putting the ball in it. He looks a little bit like Hwang-Min Son to some extent.
Well, I was just
playing
gonna
off the
say-
same side as well on that left side of the front three. So.
Yeah, I think Jimenez may have set up both of the goals, so maybe it might be working out kind of like a Kane Sonny thing. We'll see, but they're going to need those goals to get anything out of this game. I think Manchester City hosting Burnley, gentlemen. Before we get into the discussion of the game, I think we should chat about the comments from Raheem Sterling, who has.
Oh
come
yeah,
out,
that popped up.
yeah, and he essentially said.
Newcastle, come get me.
Well, hey, he said it. If he would be open to going somewhere else where he would be getting more playing time. Now, is this shots fired? We know Jack Grealish, 100 mil has come in. He's owned that left side. And in fairness, I'm going to defend Jack here. He's been great, and he fits into that team really well. We think that where there's smoke, there's fire. Here.
As long as you don't play him as a false nine, he's all right. He's done pretty well.
Great on the left, and we've always
great
said
on the
that.
left.
Yeah.
Play him on the left. But what do we think?
Sterling has struggled pretty bad last season for finishing. Like he kind of went back to the Sterling that before Pep got his hands on him. Pep, he always had that like skies it. Misses 3 or 4 sitters, maybe gets one good chance and scores, but misses a bunch of other chances. And he got rid of that, and he started like just being really clinical for season and a half, 2 seasons probably.
Yep, that's about right.
But last season just kind of went back to that lack of confidence. Now maybe that's because he's not playing enough. Sometimes the confidence drops when the coach doesn't pick you anymore, and that's hurt him a little bit. He's a good player. I take him at Spurs. For sure, I'd take him.
Here's my issue.
Put him on the right side of
Anytime.
Well, no, he's always been effective coming in from the left. Even at his best with City, he's coming in from the left. Guess what? No offense, Jack Grealish is a much better player coming in from the. I'd say Jack Grealish is maybe other than maybe you could argue Heung-min Son. Other than him on his day, there's no one better in the league than coming in from the left than Jack Grealish. So if you're Sterling, maybe it is start to think about your next move, right? Because I think he pretty much considers himself a high-profile player. And,
he is for sure. He's
going to want minutes.
England starter. He scores goals for England every time he plays generally. So, what's his age? I was going to say 29, 30.
I
He's
think
right.
28, 29. Yeah, he's
for
right
that last
there.
move, man.
He's on that cusp. So yeah.
It's almost like if you want a big payday, you might need to go somewhere.
I mean, he's honestly for Newcastle, it would be the perfect player for them right now.
Yeah.
Perfect
Same
player.
maximum.
Him and
Him
say
and
maximum
Wilson.
in Wilson as a top 3, or a front 3. That would make Newcastle at least offensively dangerous,
I
depending
agree,
on
I
who can
agree.
create for them. But yeah,
But you've already won a bunch of titles. Are you at that point saying, listen, I know we're not getting
you're looking
anywhere
for the
that
money.
That's it.
You're looking for the money and playing time.
Well, what do
100%.
we think about this weekend? Do we think Burnley got a shot against City at home, or is City just going to smash them?
Yeah, smash them. I think
think
they've
so.
beaten Burnley the last 3 times they played them
5-0.
4-0.
Yep.
I think it's 5-0.
It's 4. I did a trivia thing
4?
today. It was 4. Yeah.
And then-
Only.
Yeah.
And then Norwich hosting mighty Brighton, who have had
Can
a
Brighton
great
keep
start
going,
to the
right?
season. Tied for third on 14 points. Are they going to keep it going or what? I think so.
I think so. They don't have that many guys going away for international break. They had 2 weeks to train and recover. I'm
Also
seeing
fucking
them take a
Norwich,
win,
man.
And it's Norwich.
Norwich are terrible.
Norwich.
You don't have to pronounce the W.
I
though.
love when JP calls them Norwich.
Norwich.
But you know what? Most North Americans do, and you're just like, it's
true.
Oh, I've said
Our
some,
W's are not silent.
I've said some pretty bad pronunciations of English football clubs before, so I'm no one to say anything. But
Boys, Southampton hosting Leeds. How many goals are there in this game?
oh man,
JP 0? You know Leeds are going to spot everyone 2 goals.
No, like the Leeds are terrible, but so is Southampton. It's like both teams are like Leeds is going to be in their half and not be able to hit a broadside of a barn, and Southampton will possess when they can and won't be able to shoot the broadside of a barn. So what's the point?
You know what? Leeds, after 7 games, 6 points, 16th in the league. Like,
Yeah, second
Second
season
season.
syndrome, man. They're
it's-
struggling. Bamford's not hadn't got off the mark yet either. He's not playing remotely as good as they started the season last season. So I think that the thing about Bielsa ball, and it's similar to what playing under Poch as well, and probably even under Klopp, depending on the rotation of players,
Tires you out.
it tires you out, man. And this is the
Yeah.
same. These are the same players that have been doing this for 4 seasons since Bielsa's come in.
Yeah.
Including the championship. I think he came. I forget when he came in when the championship. Maybe it was mid-season, but it's been at least 3 seasons. But you tire, man. Like you just get worn out from the training sessions, from the expectations to run your guts off every single game. You get tired, and you're just kind of like, I just want to chill, man, and kick the ball around. You know,
Also
I guess
at the
some of the
same
players
time-
are coming to that. You know,
Yeah. Also, at the same time, they gotta shore up that defense. Like, I know it's the style and whatever, but like, keep.
I
the
said that
ball out of
last
your
season
net.
as well. Yeah,
So true. Boys, this next one, I don't know.
It's gonna be a tasty
Game of the week.
tasty
No,
London
man.
derby we got going on here.
Game of the
Brentford
week.
hosting Chelsea.
West
and
London
you know
derby.
what? If you would have told me 2 or 3 weeks ago that this game was happening, I'd be like, oh, Chelsea are going to smash them. And they could, but have we not been impressed with Brentford? Holy shit.
Yeah, Brentford
man.
are the new
Nope.
Leeds or the new Sheffield United. They look
Well,
good.
Brian, you mentioned Leeds. The thing that impresses me the most about Brentford is they never stop running. Like, I'd love to see a stat, and I'm sorry I don't have it. I bet you they've covered more ground than maybe any other Premier League team this season.
You watched them against that in that Liverpool game, that 3-3
Yeah.
draw in Liverpool. That Brentford side just believed that they just believed. They just go down another goal, we're going to get one back, and they just relentless. It was impressive as hell. They have the right. I think their manager's really good. He's really motivational. His tactics are spot on for how to play against teams that have more of the ball. Their counter attack is really good. Brentford look good. I think they're going to be that sort of bogey team for some of the bigger sides are going to struggle against them. I think Chelsea might. I think they'll win, but it'll be very tight.
JP, you agree?
JP,
What do you
your
think, man?
You asked the question, are you guys surprised? Both of you guys said yes, and I said no. I thought Brentford were going to be good as soon as they entered this league. I thought they were going to do well. I've been saying it for the past 3 weeks that they're a solid team. They're a solid 10th place team. They remind me of Southampton when Southampton first came back into the league. What, like 6 years ago, 5 years ago, where they were
The
like
Liverpool B
South
team? Liverpool
Yeah.
B team?
Longer than that, I think it's been like 8 seasons. Southampton,
maybe, but like the
A long
nickname
time
was
ago.
South Alona because they were playing so well.
some good
and
football. Yeah,
Brentford aren't playing like passing, but man, they're just hustling. They're working. They're
Work rate is-
battling. They're
work rate's
fighting,
incredible.
And every single player on that team.
I'm
is
hearing a
playing
lot
like it's
here,
their last
JP.
match.
I'm hearing a lot.
and
Are
well
you gonna-
managed, very well
Are
managed.
They
they-
might lose, but it's going to be a great game.
Should be
I'm going to
entertaining
tell
as hell.
people to watch it.
Are you think they can get something from this, or are you giving it to
I
Chelsea?
mean, I could definitely see a draw out of this, a 2-2 draw, a 1-1 draw, but I think Chelsea is just too strong up top overall. I think Lukaku can definitely do
Chelsea
his
need to
work.
get it right though, because they've struggled to get Lukaku playing the way he's
they
good at
can.
playing. He's been playing a lot of hold up, and he's good at hold up. He's become good at it, but that's not his game. He needs to be on the shoulder, and they need to get balls through. What they used to be doing too for not Havertz, but oh god,
Pulisic?
no,
Hazard.
Hazard, but not the German. My
Oh,
brain is-
Werner.
Werner. Sorry, my brain is not working right now. Apologize, guys. Timo Werner last season, all so many times got a ball through, to his feet, in behind. That's the way they need to play for Lukaku, and Lukaku will just bang goals in.
Okay.
But they're not right now. His back is to goal. When his back's to goal, he's okay. His first touch has improved considerably. You know that from United days, right? Like
100%.
He's used to just ball bounce off of him and he'd give the ball away. He's gotten better at that, but that means he's not going to score as much if that's the way they're going to play. They need to get in between the lines, and they need to send him on that last shoulder.
Okay,
They're
so
gonna
here's
get
my
it
question
out
for
of him.
both of you. We saw it before the international break. Timo Werner's starting to look like he can be that guy on the right side.
Pressure's off.
Can he be the guy getting the pace up and down the wing? And can he be the guy, like, we know he created chances, Brian.
Yeah.
Could he be the setup guy that Lukaku needs, him
Sure.
and Havertz?
Yeah.
and
Totally,
Pulisic,
as long as
whoever
he
else
doesn't
you want to
shoot
put on
on
the
free.
left.
Just don't
Yeah.
play
Don't let
play
him
a game
shoot.
where you have your striker with his back to the goal. You need to play
Yeah.
very, very direct and look for those balls between the lines. Because if you watch any highlights from Lukaku last season in the Serie A, it was just, it's ridiculous. His finishing is ridiculous. He will
Put
not
it on a platter
He
for
will
him.
not miss if you get it in between those lines and he gets a one-on-one with the keeper. It's a goal every time.
He's
So
a deadly
Totally.
finisher.
they need to do that if they're gonna get the best of him. He's even come out and said it himself
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Big-
Gentlemen, we move to Sunday, and this one could be tasty. Everton hosting West Ham. I don't know. I'm very conflicted. I can't wait to watch it. I think Everton, they are having a great start to the season. West Ham's, they've been
Started well, but they've kind
started well.
of faded a bit.
What do you boys think about? I can't put my finger on it. I'm almost curious to see how these two match up because I almost put them in that same bracket where I almost consider them almost evenly matched at this point of the season. JP, what do you think?
I think their tactics on both sides are very, very different. Everton's a very wing play, cross it in, get old header on it, where I feel like West Ham is like slowly get guys into the box or a quick counter break. And then
Antonio is
it's
involved
very
in a lot
much
of that.
through the middle. I feel like it's definitely late runs in the box.
Yep.
But these are two teams that I could see finishing right next to each other in the league. They're both very strong starting 11s.
Seventh and eighth kind of position, probably. Yep.
Seventh, eighth, maybe eighth, ninth. I could see both these teams are very strong, like 12, 13 deep, and then it drops off. And we'll really see which team kind of has it, I think, in this game. This should be a really tasty game. I can't wait.
Yeah, I agree.
think-
I couldn't. Yeah, sorry.
No, for sure. I think Everton's going to set up for the counter against West Ham because West Ham are pretty good at keeping the ball. They've got a decent midfield and defense. But, like, the signings of Townsend and Gray have worked out exceptionally well so far.
Townsend probably having his best season in the league at the moment.
in a long
Gray
time,
having his
maybe
best
ever.
season.
Yeah,
and
good
Gray,
call.
yeah.
Good
Four
call,
million, 4 million they spent on him.
Just
Yeah.
pennies
Ridiculous.
for these two team
Yeah.
players.
Yeah, it's
Great
absurd.
signings. Bry, Newcastle, the rich
Yeah.
boys hosting Spurs.
New owner bounce.
Yeah, exactly. And we all, I think we can all agree that Heung-min Son was the star last time they played, eking out that win with a solid performance. A lot more criticism of Harry Kane with England. Brian, what are you expecting going into this one?
I'm not like it because they're still managed by Steve Bruce, and because the group of players isn't any different. The tactics are going to be the same. I think they would have, like, if I would have been worried had they replaced the manager a week ago, and they were coming in with a new manager bounce, new ownership bounce. Yeah, there's the fans probably get more of that than the players. Some of the players will, because they want to be part of the team moving forward when the changes are made. But they don't need to impress the coach. They know that coach is going to go at some point, so they're like more like just trying to impress maybe the ownership or try to look. I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think Spurs should have enough, but it depends on which Spurs show up. We've seen very different Spurs team this season in very different games. If we play anything like we did against Arsenal away, we'll get slapped by a really poor Newcastle team. If we play anything like we did against who did we play last week? We was
Villa.
Villa.
Villa. If we play anything against Villa, I think we'll win comfortably. So it just depends on which
I didn't
Spurs
think
show
you were
up.
good against Villa. That was.
I thought it was one of the better
Mild.
games we played, and I don't think we've been good this season. So
fair.
I'm not saying we were good. I'm just saying we were better than a good Villa side coming into the game, and Villa didn't play that well as well. But we have enough in our team to beat Newcastle if we play as good as we did against Villa.
JP, what do you think, man? Yeah, what do you
My
think about
question
this
for
one?
Brian is: does Kane start? Because he's been just terrible.
He
Does
will
Kane
start.
He starts.
If he starts, I think he can finally get a goal because Newcastle defense is Swiss cheese. They are terrible.
Harry Kane is completely out of sorts at the moment. There was an interview with Football London today from some quotes from him talking about his form, and he's got 9 goals in all competitions this season, but 0 in the Premier League. Sort of kind of tells you the competition level his head is at and like where his motivations are. Gets a hat trick, comes on against in a Conference League side, but can barely even touch the ball in the Prem. So he needs to step up if he isn't leaving in January. If he's going to play for the rest of the season, he needs to get his head in order and start sscoring, or he needs to be dropped. What I did like to see, I'd like to see Gareth Southgate take him off. He did the right thing. That should have happened in the last 2 or 3 games that Spurs played. They should have taken Harry Kane off and just said, "Hey man, you're not there yet. Motivate him, push him, make him feel like I need to do better." Because at the moment, it doesn't feel like he's got the energy, and he will be key for Spurs if we're gonna come remotely close to finishing in any European positions this season.
If he starts, I think he can score. It's a poor Newcastle side. I think
It
Spurs
is.
have more than enough
We should.
to take
We
care
should.
of them.
That's my point.
Flip a coin.
I don't think this is a
Which Spurs-
conversation.
which-
It's
which
not
Spurs-
if
which
he
Spurs
starts.
comes up.
He's definitely starting. You don't. He's still. This is what I don't like
Cristiano
about the
should have
media.
started.
Well, no, but Cristiano's 36. Like, this is what I don't like about the media, and especially in England. He's still Harry fucking Kane, man. He's a world-class player. We all know there's got to be some stuff going on with his head and the club and the train. We all know that. Dude, you start him. He's not the kind of guy to mail it in. Kane is going to come good. My question, I'd go back more to what Brian said. I think you could get a scenario where all of these players on Newcastle know they're going to be going. They're in this rebuild, most of those players, maybe bar St. Maximin, I think there might be some nerves about the team, one with the manager, and two, basically they're like, well, you know what, in a season or two, I'm not going to have a spot on this team because I'm going to be replaced by somebody better. So I think that could benefit Spurs going into this game.
Or it could benefit Newcastle.
Yeah.
It could go either way.
Or they put themselves in the shop window. Either way, should be a good one. Boys, Monday, Arsenal, who have really turned it around, hosting Crystal Palace. Are Arsenal back on track? Can they continue it? Or can Vieira's boys cause some problems? JP, what do we think?
I mean, I feel like Arsenal is not turned a corner yet. I feel like they are working themselves into better results, but Crystal Palace are doing kind of the same thing. And I've always thought Crystal Palace is like a yo-yo team, kind of like West Ham, but I'm really starting to dig their strike force. I think they're getting the right guys. They're buying some of the right players, and I think they could hurt Arsenal if Arsenal don't show up, don't work hard, don't play well. And he's been playing that new player he bought as a center back, and it hasn't been working super well. And I can't remember the dude's
Talk
name.
about Anderson?
No.
Are you talking about for Arsenal or for
Arsenal.
Palace?
You're talking about Anderson, man.
No, Anderson
No.
doesn't play for Arsenal, mate. So.
Sorry.
Arsenal.
Oh, you're talking about Arsenal. Oh,
talking
you're
about
talking
Arsenal.
about what's his face? Ben White.
No, it's the other one. Did they buy
Gabriel?
two
Gabriel?
Was it Gabby?
Dude, he's their best player. You could
They're
argue.
both,
it
center,
wasn't-
they're
it
both
wasn't-
center halves, too. So I
It
don't know.
was
It's
the
Ben
dude- I
White
think
that you're thinking of from Brighton. $50 million.
I don't think it is. I gotta look it up now. You guys go.
No, I listen. I think to your point, there's a couple of young attackers up front for Crystal Palace that could cause some problems for Arsenal. But listen, say what you will about them, JP. That they won 4 games in a row and then they drew their last game. They still
3 games
listen.
before that, not 4.
Yeah, but guess what though? Look at compared to how they started the season, and Brian knows this better than anybody. A win is a win. You eke out a result. Sometimes it doesn't matter how you do it. They have turned a corner, whether it's the corner that they need to turn to talk about like top 7, top 8. I'm not sure about that, but you got to give them a little bit of credit considering how they started the season as to how they're doing now. And I imagine they go into this game the favorite.
Tomiyasu.
Ah, that's right.
He's the new. He's a
right back, though.
He's a right back, yeah.
He's a right back, but he's played a little bit center back, and he keeps getting pulled out of position. And if he does it again, they're gonna. I think Crystal Palace can beat him. I think if they set up wrong, if they set up with some of the wrong tactics, Crystal Palace can catch him. I think it's not as straightforward as a lot of people.
I don't think it's straightforward at all. I think that'll be a
Right.
really close game. I can't see
so, too.
either team be confidently beating the other.
I don't
can
think
see
either team's probably very confident.
Yeah,
at playing this
I
game.
think it'll be a similar result that we saw Arsenal Brighton last 2 weeks ago. It was a 1-1 draw. I think you'll see something similar to that.
I could see that.
Do you guys think like Odegaard could start to become like the older version of Ozil, who was just a great playmaker? Could he become that guy for Arsenal in that 10 area with
Maybe.
Smith Rowe?
Maybe. I don't know.
I
don't
like
seem
Smith Rowe
convinced.
better. I like Smith Rowe better as a player. I feel like he has a little bit more in the physical side of the game than Odegaard does. I think Odegaard's vision is a little bit better, but I think Smith Rowe will get more assists and more goals this year than Odegaard will.
Yeah, I'd agree with that probably.
I would have loved to see Odegaard in like Chelsea. I think he would have been phenomenal at Chelsea. I think he would have been phenomenal at like Leicester.
Some better players around him, maybe.
Yeah, just like a stronger, more disciplined, more refined midfield. I
Yeah.
feel like he's that he is kind of that Ozil feeling to him, but I think Smith Rowe is a little bit better of a player. To me, Smith Rowe is a better John McGinn. He is just off Mason Mount in my head. if he can get to just a little bit higher of a level, I think he could be like a Mason Mount type
You
player.
start to look at that Arsenal attack, and Nicolas Pepe's starting to play a lot better. You got Smith Rowe, Odegaard, like they're starting like to look like on paper anyway. And Thomas Partey when he's healthy in the midfield, like they have improved on paper with some of these signings. These players, can we not agree?
Well, a lot of those players, to be fair,
right?
too, Connie didn't start the season. You know, there was a lot of like
Exactly.
they started with a few injuries. I think we're seeing the Arsenal that finished the season last season, which still ended up finishing 8th. So
Yeah.
you know, I don't think they've improved from that. They've certainly improved from being bottom of the league earlier this season, which is not hard to do when you've got some of the talent that's in that side that wasn't playing at the beginning of the season. So I think that they're playing at the level that you'd expect them to, and I think Palace is around the same level. So I don't think there's much between them.
It's tough to say when it comes to these because I mean I would say you would edge Arsenal, but with the way the attackers are playing for Crystal Palace, like you wouldn't be surprised if they won 2-1, 2-0. You know what I mean? Like,
Vieira is going to have a desire to beat his old club as well too. So there'll be a little bit of that in there.
But boys, we're back. Yeah. We're back. No more international break. Back to normal football, boys.
Club football's back. Yeah. So thanks for watching. Anybody who's watched this, who is watching live, who is going to watch it post, it's been a pleasure. Make sure you like and subscribe. Slap that button. We will be back next week with just sort of the standard Monday or Tuesday podcast reviews and previews for the following week. Guys, thanks for joining me, and it's been a pleasure as always. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
This is the North End. This is the North End.